This oneness, the seeing God in everything, that is what Swami Vivekananda says. Not only in the Himalayas, but everywhere. Whether you are in the Himalayas or in the plains of India, you see same Brahman everywhere. The one who has it here will have it there. The one who does not see it here will not see it there also. This is a theme from one of the greatest of Upanishads, the Isha Upanishad. In the Isha Upanishad, the first mantra of the Isha Upanishad, very famous. It seems Mahatma Gandhi said that if all the texts of Hindus were to disappear today, and only the first line of the Isha Upanishad remains, all of Hinduism also will still remain. What is that amazing mantra? Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha magrira kasya svidhanam. Pervade all this, cover all this, the moving and the non-moving. All this means whatever we are experiencing, our entire life, cover it by God, by Isha. The word used is Isha. It literally means God, the supreme controller of the entire universe. Cover it by God. What does that mean? Cover everything by God? Shankaracharya, in his commentary, he makes two remarkable movements. He says, first of all, covering everything by God means uncovering. Because it's not that here is a world, now you have to put a cloth over it, just like you put a cloth and cover your bed, not like a bed sheet covering the bed. No. God is already there. The divinity is already here. You have to uncover it. How do you uncover God in this world? He says you have to discover it. Discover. So cover everything by God is equal to uncover the already existing God, is to discover the existing God. Discover always means when you discover something, what do? You inquire into it. You look into it. You can see how he's preparing the way of knowledge, jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge. Yoga of knowledge is inquiry, vichara, inquiry. You have to inquire into it. He gives a very nice example. He says, sometimes sandalwood, which is used in temple worship, if you leave it in water too long, it acquires a certain sludge covering over it, which is it doesn't smell nice. But for that, to recover the original beautiful smell of sandalwood, you don't have to spray sandalwood spray on top of it. What you do is scrape it off, rub, scrape, until the underlying original existing fragrance of sandalwood becomes manifest once more. Similarly, our delusion about this world, our misconception about this world, our error of this world, what do you have to do? Scrub until the underlying Brahman, the existence, consciousness, bliss becomes manifest. So this is the idea, this is one movement that Shankaracharya makes. And then in his commentary, I'm translating or I'm summarizing his commentary, Bhashya, on the Isha Upanishad, first line. The second interesting move he makes is, the word used in the original Upanishad is Isha, which means God. And Shankaracharya says, this Isha, by God, cover everything by God. He says Isha is equal to Paramatmana, by the Supreme Self. Well, we can translate God as the Supreme Self, no objection there. Shankaracharya does not make a move without a reason. The next reason is it's a slippery slope. Once you have said God is the Supreme Self, then the next step he says, this Paramatmana, by the Supreme Self, the next word he uses is Swena Atmana, by your own self. So to cover everything by God is equal to cover everything by yourself. Well, that is a huge move he has made. We'll see more of that later. Now, covering everything by God, to see the divinity in all beings, to see the one radiant existence, consciousness, bliss everywhere, in everything, that oneness is the theme of our talk today, what we are trying to discover. But there's an obvious problem here. All this is nice, but our experience is not of oneness. Our experience is of difference. How will I see the chair and the person sitting on the chair as one? How come? It's not possible. How do I see the lectern and the carpet as one? How do I see the human being and the animal and the plant and the rocks and the air and the sky and the water as one? They are so obviously different. Let me introduce a technical term here, a Sanskrit term, Vastu Paricheda. Vastu means object. Any object, any reality is called Vastu. Paricheda means limitation. Limitation. What does Vastu Paricheda mean? Object limitation. What does it mean? It sounds abstract, but it's pretty simple actually. What it means is every object by being itself excludes everything else. In logic, this is called the law of identity. If A is A, then it's different from everything else. It's different from B, C, D, E, F, G, H. It's different from everything else. The idea of identity. I am me. I am this person. I have my own social security number, which is different from everybody else's number. This makes me a unique individual. But then Vedanta has an interesting way of looking at it. Yes, but by becoming a unique individual, you have become very small. How so? You are just yourself and nothing else. This phone is this phone. You say, so what? But it is not the table. It's not the paper. It's not the Swami. It's not even another phone. It is this phone only. Isn't it very small then? By being itself, it excludes everything else in the universe. That's how it gets its own small identity. This is called object limitation. Looked in one way, it's a limitation. What are you? Only you. Are you him or her or that or this? No, I'm just me. In that case, you have excluded the entire universe. You have limited yourself in one body, one personality, one little being. And you are different from everything in this universe. This is a Sanskrit term for this, Vastu Paricheda. And if you want to establish oneness, that all things are one reality, call it Brahman, Satchidananda, whatever you want to call it, what we are trying to do is called Vastu Paricheda Nishedha, the negation of this object limitation. We're trying to overcome this object limitation. Not that everything will finally become one undistinguishable, homogeneous sludge. No. After this lecture, everything will still be the same. You will look like yourself. Everybody around you will look like yourself. Your car will still be out there. Everything will be different. And the universe will still appear the same. But what Vedanta wants us to appreciate is, even while things appear different and they work as they are supposed to work, things are just the same in the universe, yet we know they are one reality. How do you do that? How do you negate the obvious differences in everything? How do you find out a oneness which is not at all obvious? It's beautiful to see the one divinity in all beings, cover everything by Brahman, by Isha, discover God in everything, that one reality everywhere, the oneness of our existence. That's beautiful. But how? What you are seeking to do in logical terms is this negation of object limitation. Vastu Paricheda Nishedha. Is it getting very heavy? Good, because it's going to get heavier now. Now, where is this oneness? If we go a little further in the Ishopanishad itself, if we go to the 6th and the 7th mantras, if we jump ahead, the answer is there. The key to this. I understand, you have to see oneness. What oneness? Where are we to find it? All this sounds abstract. Make it practical. Show me that oneness. And the 6th and 7th mantras, they say the same thing. What do they say? Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmanyeva anupashyati. Sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. What does it mean? In that realization, Shankaracharya says, Yasmin kale, at that moment of realization, what happens? When you become enlightened, what do you see? The enlightened one sees all beings in the self. All beings in the self. Right now, what do we see? I am myself, and you are all excluded. Nobody is invited. You're all out there. I am just me. But the enlightened one sees that all beings are in me. All beings in the self. Clearly, it does not mean the body. Bodies are all different. So in what self are we talking about? That is the question. And then the self in all beings. Sarvabhuteshu Atmanam. In all beings you see yourself. Right now in you, I see you. In myself, I see myself. We are different. But the enlightened one sees oneself in all beings, in each of us. The enlightened one sees that. And the result of that is also mentioned. Tatona vijugupsate. Then that one does not hate anyone. It cannot hate. Cannot discriminate. Cannot shun. Cannot exclude anymore. Just as you would not hate yourself. You do not fight. You do not want to destroy yourself. You feel one with yourself. In the same way you would feel one with everybody without any exception. I mean, just consider what that life will be like. Vivekananda, here in this country, when he comes, he meets this great public orator, Robert Ingersoll. He was well known as the Great Agnostic. Yale University Press published a book a few years ago, The Great Agnostic, Robert Ingersoll. And he was a famous public orator. That was a thing in those days. TED Talk like that, except the TED Talks are 20 minutes, that those talks would be 1 or 2 or 3 hours. That was entertainment at that time. And Ingersoll did not believe in religion or spirituality. And he said to Vivekananda, all this, what you're talking about, I don't believe in it. This life is all we have. And I want to squeeze the orange of this life and get every drop from it. That's all I want. Vivekananda said, I believe that too. But I know a better way of squeezing the orange. He also added, we just differ in our choice of fruit. For me, it's a mango. But I know a better way of squeezing the orange, squeezing that fruit. I know a better way. I know that I cannot die. Therefore, I am not in a hurry. I am not afraid. I love all beings as God. Imagine the joy of loving all beings as God. He says, squeeze your orange in this way and get 10,000-fold more. I'm quoting Vivekananda exactly here. Get 10,000-fold more. Get every single drop. This is the result of seeing this oneness. It's not just a theoretical quest. It is the most tremendous thing that one can experience. And then the Upanishad goes on in the 7th mantra to say, Yastu sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanata tatra komoha kashoka ekatvam anupashyata. When the enlightened one, for that enlightened one, the entire universe has become their own self. Then it says, what is the result of this? What sorrow can there be anymore? What delusion can there be anymore for the one who sees oneness? This is our theme this evening. Now we are going to take a deep dive into this. Try to understand. What is this oneness? How is this oneness accomplished? In technical terms, vastu paricheda nisheda, the negation of object limitation. How is this accomplished? Or to put it in normal language. Somebody is saying technical language, and for us normies. Can you put it in normal language? And for us normies, it just means I see difference. How will I see oneness? This is the answer. So let's begin at that. The one who sees all beings in the self. The language there is what is called in Sanskrit adhara adheya, the ground and that which is supported by the ground. The ground is, suppose this table. This is the ground. And what's supported by the ground? Phone, paper. All of this is supported by the ground. My hands. Now what is the ground is the table, and the phone is that which is supported by the ground. These two are clearly different. Now, the next thing we need to see is that when the ground is consciousness, then the objects which are supported by the consciousness, what is there in consciousness, are appearances in consciousness. Here, two physical things, one thing can be put on top of another. They're two physical things. They're objects. One object can be imposed upon another. You can put one object on top of another. In consciousness, notice, just look at our own experience. When we are experiencing things in consciousness, what's happening? When I experience a phone, when I put a phone on a table, there are two different things. There's a table, there's a phone, I put it on top of that. But when I put the phone in my mind, when I experience it, what is happening? The phone is appearing, it's being experienced, it's the content of a conscious experience. I see the phone. It's not that I actually take a phone and put it in the mind physically. No, that's impossible. What is the meaning of a statement like I see the phone? It just means light is reflected from the phone and it goes into my eyes. Just the light goes. The phone doesn't go into my eyes. There's 911 you have to call. What happened? He saw his phone. No, just the light goes into the eyes. And instantly, even the light is not there. It becomes electrical impulses racing along optic nerves to a brain center. And instantly, almost, even the electrical impulses are not there. Somehow, we don't know how. No scientist, no cognitive scientist, researcher, doctor, physiologist can tell you how that little electrical activity in the neurons suddenly becomes a conscious experience and you say, I see the phone. No, nobody knows. Just today we are talking with the Swamis that there is how many theories of consciousness are there right now? If you look it up, you'll see. I strongly recommend this. Take a look. Somebody forwarded it to me. 325 theories of consciousness. There are, on some reckoning, 325 theories of consciousness. There's a video about it, an interview with Robert Lawrence Kuhn, who's been interviewing people for the last 20 years. He has a podcast called Closer to Truth. On YouTube, you can find it. So a map of the existing theories of consciousness, 325 theories. We don't know which one is correct. And very interesting, he says, clearly, he begins it all starts with Vedanta. He says there, in the Upanishads of India, thousands of years ago. It's the first and most sophisticated, among the most sophisticated theories of consciousness that we have. Thousands of years ago, in ancient India, these texts called the Upanishads, he begins with that. Anyway, 325 theories trying to explain how that electrical activity suddenly becomes, I see the phone. There is no phone there. It is an appearance in consciousness. There's no doubt about it. Now, an appearance is false. That in which something appears, that is real. I'll repeat that. That which appears is false. That in which it appears, that is real. What do I mean by that? Even the word appearance has two meanings. Appears means you experience something. Somebody has appeared. I'm seeing. The phone appears. I see it. Another meaning of appear is, it's not what it seems. He appears to be friendly. Not friendly. There appears a phone in consciousness. Not a phone. This is what Vedanta calls a name and a form and a function, appearing. So let me give a couple of examples. It will become clear. What am I trying to show? That which appears is not real. That in which something appears, that something, the in which it appears, the ground of that appearance, the basis of that appearance, that is real. First, I'll give the mirror example. Second, I will give the dream example. If I have a mirror, and this I'm taking again from Shankaracharya, those who study, they know Dakshinamurti Stotram. What is this universe? The universe is like a city seen in a mirror. Vishwam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam. Like a city seen in a mirror. So if you are driving in your driving mirror, you see the city of Sacramento behind you. You can see the buildings, you can see the roads, the other cars coming. You can see the sky, people. But in that mirror, there's a city out there. But in that mirror, what you are seeing, in the mirror there are no cars. In the mirror there are no people or roads or trees or sky. What's there in the mirror? Mirror. It's glass. You'll say, but the stuff is there outside. Shankaracharya at that time did not have computer screens or movie screens. They had only mirrors. He had to take pains to point out that just see the mirror. Forget about the world outside. In the mirror, a city appears. Roads, people, parks, sky, fountains. But there's nothing in the mirror except the mirror. It just looks like people, looks like road and the sky. And so in the mirror, whatever appears is not there. Only mirror is there. And yet after knowing this, what will happen? It will still keep appearing. So, what appears in the mirror is not there in the mirror. In the mirror, what's there? Only mirror. Similarly, the claim is what appears in consciousness is not there. It's experienced in consciousness. Then what is there? What is being experienced actually? Consciousness itself. If you see a person in a mirror and you touch it, are you touching the person? No, you're touching the mirror. If you see a road in the mirror, you touch it, are you touching the road? No, you're touching the mirror. Similarly, when we experience anything in consciousness, what we are experiencing is consciousness itself. It just looks like that. Another example, same point. What appears is not real. That in which it appears, that's real. So the reflections in the mirror are not real, but the mirror is real. Similarly, a dream example. So suppose in a dream, we don't know we are dreaming. We are walking around in a park and seeing people and trees and the lake and people walking their dogs. And you're yourself there. And when we wake up from the dream, we suddenly realize, oh, it was a dream. What does it mean, oh, it was a dream? It means whoever we saw there, whatever we saw there, the park, it's not a park. It was the mind appearing as a park. It's not people. It was the dreaming mind appearing as people. It's not dogs being walked. It was dreaming mind appearing as the dogs being walked. The lake and the sky and everything, land, everything there was just the dreaming mind. Even you, in your own dream, the person walking down there, that body in the dream was also dreamt up by the mind. All that was there in the dream was the mind. Is it true or not? It's true. We all accept it. That's what our realization is the moment we wake up from it. We realize the mind itself appeared as 1,000 things there. But there were not 1,000 things or people there. It was just the mind. And the amazing thing is, in the dream, the mind is nowhere to be seen. It is people and places and happenings and good and bad and all of life. It just seems like a waking experience. It doesn't seem like mind. Yet when we wake up, we realize it was all mind and nothing but the mind. So whatever appeared in the dream was not real. But what was real? That in which the dream was appearing, the mind, the dreaming mind. So you have two examples now to demonstrate the point being made. The mirror and reflections. The reflections are actually not there. What is there is the mirror. The reflections are not real, mirror is real. Similarly, whatever is seen in consciousness is not real, consciousness is real. Dream. Whatever is seen in the dream is not real, but the dreaming mind is real, that which appeared as all things to itself. Similarly, whatever appears in consciousness is an appearance. The reality there is consciousness itself. This is the claim. And if we look a little closely, it has to be so. What else can it be? There are now scientists, cognitive researchers. Here in California itself, Donald Hoffman is there. There is another scientist and philosopher, Bernardo Kastrup, and a number of others who are beginning to think in this way, that whatever is appearing in consciousness must be consciousness itself. All right, let me give in to temptation and share with you one argument which I liked from Bernardo Kastrup in his book Analytic Idealism. He says, when you look at the horizon, you look as far as you can. You see land or water or something. You see the earth, oceans, etc. And if you go further and further towards the horizon, what will you see? Same earth or ocean, whatever it will be. But if somebody comes and tells you, yes, up to the horizon it is this land, earth, ocean, but beyond that is a miraculous something else, beyond the horizon. Only up to the extent that you can see is the earth. Beyond that is utterly something different. Heaven or hell or something is there outside. Just beyond that. you would be doubtful. Everything that I can see up to the horizon is earth only. And if I push it back further and further I go, I keep seeing more earth. How do I know that this theoretical, extraordinary thing other than earth is there? There's no proof at all. Exactly like that, he says, whatever we experience and can possibly experience is a conscious experience, is a mental state, is a conscious state, whatever you call it. You do not need to distinguish between mind and consciousness only. Whatever we are experiencing now, the fact that we are experiencing it is that something is appearing in consciousness. That's an experience. What's an experience? An object appears in consciousness. Whatever we can experience also will always be an object appearing in consciousness. Whatever we can experience. If you experience this world, it's objects appearing in consciousness. Objects appearing means people are appearing, chairs and table are appearing. If you peer through a microscope, you will find many things which you did not see earlier, you will start seeing. You will see microbes and all that. Still objects appearing in consciousness. If you use other senses, ears, nose, all will be objects appearing in consciousness. A smell or a sound will appear in consciousness. If we use extraordinary senses like, say, the infrared sense of a snake or the ultraviolet, I think bees can see ultraviolet, I think, it will still be objects appearing in consciousness. So any experience is objects appearing in consciousness. Now, Bernardo Kastrup says, if someone tells you, yes, all experiences are objects appearing in consciousness, but beyond the horizon of your experience, there is something called matter outside your conscious experience. It's like that, saying that whatever you can see is earth, but beyond what you can see is not earth. It is impossible. There is no such thing, no such possibility of demonstrating something called matter beyond consciousness. It has to be in consciousness. Any experience has to be in consciousness by definition. Think about this, the receding horizon and the possibility that, the claim that something beyond the horizon is there, which is utterly different from what you have experienced up to the horizon. That's a very doubtful claim, but that's the claim of matter existing beyond consciousness. Everything that is experienced has to be experienced in consciousness. Tomorrow you experience God. Will you be unconscious? No. In consciousness only you will experience. So everything that is experienced in consciousness. And that which appears in consciousness must be an appearance. It must be consciousness alone which is appearing in that way. Which is an interesting thing I've just said. If you see God also, that also must be the same consciousness appearing in that form. So it's an appearance. All that I've done till now, I am commenting, I am trying to expand on that one phrase, to see all beings in the self. If you see all beings in the self, it just means all beings are appearances in the self, like reflections in the mirror. What's real in that? Mirror. Like things seen in the dream. What's real in that? The dreaming mind. If all beings are appearing in the self, what is the reality there? Self alone. Consciousness alone is the reality. Do you see the chain of logic here? Consciousness alone. You, the conscious self, you alone are the reality which is appearing as all beings. This in Vedanta, which I was doing till now, in Vedanta there is a term for this. This is called adhyasa, superimposition. Superimposition. This is the famous snake rope analogy. The rope is mistaken to be a snake. The snake appears in the rope is the reality, snake is false. It's not a snake, it's a rope, though it looks like a snake. It's not different beings. I am separate from you. Different realities all separate from each other. No. This difference is an appearance. What's real here? That which in everything is appearing. Consciousness, that one consciousness in which all different entities are appearing. That one consciousness you are. This is the logic to establish oneness of consciousness. What did we accomplish in all of this? This is called Vastu Paricheda Nisheda, the negation of object limitation. All beings appear to be separate. Suppose in a mirror, all things appear to be separate from each other, reflections. But what are they all? Just that mirror alone. So the differences in the reflections are negated by realizing its mirror. In our dreams, everything seems different from each other. People, places, dogs, plants, sky, earth. But when you wake up, they all become one. Why? They are all one dreaming mind. Similarly, here, in one consciousness, all beings are seen in the self. Sarvabhuteshu chatman. No, this Sarvabhutani chatmani, the first phrase. All beings are seen in the self. It means they are not all beings. It is the self alone, you alone. Self means you. You alone, which appears as all beings. And how is this accomplished, this movement? By the idea of superimposition, appearance. That which appears must be false. In which it appears, that must be true. Now, if this is understood, with this, we go to the next part of that verse and that mantra, and that's a shocker. Which our entire, this logical structure which I built up now for the last one hour, it will collapse like a house of cards. Why? I'll tell you. The next part of it is very interesting. It says, Sarva bhutastham chatmanam. First you see all beings in the self. Next it says you see the self in all beings. Immediately this is a big problem for us. Why? We said, that which appears is false. In which it appears, that is true. Now, we said all beings appear in the self. So, all beings are not there. The self alone is appearing as all beings. Now, when we reverse it, the self in all beings. Now, what is the ground? All beings. And what is imposed on it? The self. That which is imposed must be false. Then the self, consciousness becomes false. It's like the rope is the ground and the snake is the imposition. Rope is real, snake is false. Now if you are saying all beings, to see the self in all beings, what in means that the ground is all beings and the self is in all beings, then that which is imposed is the self, which must be false. In technical Advaitic terms, adhyasta, that which is superimposed, is mithya, is false. In this way then the self itself will become false. Atman will become false. Brahman will become false. Satchidananda will become false. And all beings, these different beings, that will become real then. What is meant here? What is meant here is a subtle point. Earlier we had said the oneness was established by showing the falsity of the superimposition, the falsity of all beings in the self. All beings are appearing in consciousness, therefore consciousness is real and all beings are false. Now it is reversed. Thereby showing that falsity is not the teaching of Advaita Vedanta. This is a very crucial and subtle point. We are often taught, what does Vedanta teach? Brahman is real, world is false. But it's a teaching, it's a methodology. The goal is not to teach the falsity of the world. The goal is to teach that one consciousness only. That's all. So, by reversing it, what seems to be implied here is that it's not that all beings are false. It's that one consciousness and all beings are one and the same reality. Sister Nivedita says about Swami Vivekananda, what is the special significance of Vivekananda's teachings? The Upanishads, Gita, they would have been there even if Vivekananda had not come, and by implication if Sri Ramakrishna had not come. What is the special significance? Sister Nivedita writes, this is the crowning achievement of our master, she means Vivekananda, that the one and the many are the same reality. The one and the many are the same reality. One consciousness and everything that appears in that consciousness are the same reality. Not that one is true and the many are false, which seems to be what Advaita is saying initially. But when you reverse it, it becomes one reality. One and the many are the same reality, seen by different persons in different levels of spiritual realization. So, this is the grand conclusion that we come to. That now you abandon that talk about falsity. Just stay with the oneness. All beings in the self in all beings, it means it is one unbroken reality. That one unbroken reality, you are. Tat Tvamasi. This is the teaching. You are that one unbroken reality. What it means is this. Sri Ramakrishna is teaching, Shiva Jnana Jiva Seva. Serve all beings knowing them to be Shiva. You will not say there that, I heard the Swami saying all beings are false. I only exist. There is no all beings. No, not like that. All beings are there and they are Shiva, which you are also. So you find the oneness of all existence there. It is not one real existence which I am and everything else is false. Not like that. That everything else is false was used to negate the object limitation. Vastu Paricheda Nisheda. After that, what remains? The remainder is oneness only. Not one real Brahman, one real consciousness, and lots of false entities. Not like that. I remember Swami Nirmuktanandaji, Upen Maharaj was there. You have also seen. He was a disciple of Swami Shivanandaji, Mahapurush Mahaji in Belur Math. Very senior, revered old Swami. When this happened, he was nearly 100 years old, 99. He lived to be more than 100. So I approached him once. He was sitting on the bank of the Ganga, and those who have visited Belur Math, Holy Mother's temple, Ma Sharada's temple, he was sitting there. I asked him a question. Because I had a feeling that he's an enlightened person. How does an enlightened person see all this? Does that enlightened person see that one Brahman is there and the whole world is like a shadow or like a dream? Or what's going on in my mind? The mirror and reflection example. The one underlying reality and everything is superimposed. That example is going on in my mind. Is it that one reality does the enlightened person see and the whole world is like a shadow? Or like a dream or something like that? And his answer was, he thought for a moment, just a moment. And then he said, no. In Bengali he said, ta keno hobe? Eki ache, ektai ache. He said, there is only one. It's not that there is one Brahman and one false world. Brahman is real and a false world. No. There's one dreamer and a dream. No. It is one reality. One non-dual reality. This is the Aktai Ache. There is only one. And then I was reminded of Ramana Maharshi, the great non-dualist. He says, it is only the enlightened one who can say that the world is real. We think, after reading a lot of Vedanta, the enlightened one will say, oh, Brahman is real, the world is false. No. It's the enlightened one who can say that the world is real. What do you know of reality? The enlightened one knows reality. The enlightened one can say the world is real in what sense? He sees the spiritual reality, that oneness in all beings. That one the enlightened one sees. And therefore can say it is one reality. Ramana Maharshi further says the universe is the expansion of the self. Universe is the expansion of the self. If you find out who you are or what I am, then the universe, you will see it is one with you. It is that same one reality. I've run out of time. I think it's better to do some question answers. Yes. So this was just one more observation, which is an interesting observation. If you put together the first mantra and the sixth and seventh mantras, you will find something interesting. The first mantra says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. All idam sarvam. Just keep your mind on idam sarvam. It means all this. What is all this? Isha. And then in the sixth and seventh mantra it says, Sarva bhutani cha atmani. All this is in the self. Now you have this equation. Isha is equal to all this, is equal to the self. God is all this. God is equal to all this, is equal to the self. In other words, if you remove the middle term, all this, then what does it become? God is equal to the self. This is the great teaching. Tat Tvamasi. You are that. That ultimate reality of the universe. And you, the individual self, you are one and the same thing. If you put together the first mantra and the sixth and seventh mantras, you will get what is called the Mahavakya, Tat Tvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. You will get that.